madame.
Ahoy.
Yes? Yes?
They just sit on their asses and hope things settle themselves. Idiots.
Walk blessed. Walk blessed, madame.
Now look at that. If it isn't my new... Have you also been granted an audience by the most pleasant living person in the civilized world? Well, certainly not the fabled king of old Aranath. But yes, after 3 days of keeping me waiting, the great DeLorean has finally deigned to see me. I suppose I should feel honored. What brings you here? More errands? Oh, really? Fill me in. Is that so? How mysterious. Nice to see, however, that your travels have brought you into warmer regions of this country, too. I miss the sun and beaches of Calais. I really do. We all have our secrets, don't we? Now, off you go to your master. I've heard he doesn't like his pets to keep him waiting.
Walk blessed, madame.
Fresh from the Red
Half
Sea.
a biting magic.
Yeah.
Yes?
That's just how it
Wonderful. I've not been idle in the meantime either. Another protector provided me with some information on this Dijon. And as little as I like to say this, the odds that the Calayans really are behind the ambush get more likely by the minute.
How long do they expect me to wait for?
As I said, we need to be sure. First, we need to wait for the report from the apothecarius. Then...
You miserable, two-faced bastard! Don't you have any respect?
Treat
I
yourself.
could ask you the same thing.
Have I heard correctly that you seriously believe we had something to do with the ambush on your caravan?
What I believe is that there have been a series of peculiar coincidences, which we are investigating. No more, no less.
Peculiar coincidences. I see. As peculiar as the fact that you coincidentally forgot to inform us that the Scarabaeus has been stolen by a bunch of bandits?
Hungry for arcane secrets?
Leave.
I have
Now.
books, scrolls, potions.
The Blue Islands Coalition will learn of this accusation. Be sure of that. And you. You are no better. Bloody liars, all of you.
Irreverent wint. She must have eavesdropped. Calayans like to do that. How does the saying go? Those who've lost the path shout the loudest. If there were nothing to our assumptions, she would have stayed calm. But still, we need to know for certain. The question is when. I assume Onelis will contact them by letter. But even if she hires a myriad courier to carry it, it will be days until the Kalayans get it. Until then, we won't know for sure. Here's your pay. You will hear from me once there's news.
The light fades away at the end of the day.
Yes?
Ta-dum-dum.
Walk blessed. What can I do for you? What, you're asking me? I'm flattered, but let me think. You know, my grandfather always used to read to us from this old book, Myths and Legends. I think one of the former Archmagisters of the Order wrote it, and there were all kinds of tales about those mythical creatures that apparently roam Enderal. Grandpa always said they were just tales, but who knows? You should go to the library. Maybe they still have a volume of that book there. Honest answer? Bad. Since this whole red madness thing started. But, well, you scratch along somehow, don't you? As long as people eat and the farmers deliver, I'll have customers.
Hear my words, O path-abiding people of this holy city.
Can I help you?
Hungry for arcane secrets? Oh, definitely more comfortable than my time on the road, though.
Well, there comes a point, and you just have to live with it. Yes?
Move along.
Thank you, Sunchild. You saved a lot of lives today.
As you like. Safety. As you like. Safe travels.
Take your time.
not one of the Relata's mercenaries, are you? Word has it they're hiring again. I'd give them a wide berth if I were you.
There you are. Ready? Tree. Oh, yeah, sure. The people down here call it the Weeping Tree. They believe that the Black Guardian, once a year, fulfills one of the wishes they write onto these notes. Superstitious nonsense, of course. They might as well send their wishes to the Blue Island Coalition. Maybe. Ready to set out? What do you think? Because we don't want to draw any attention. If somebody sees me walking around with you, it won't be the end of the world, but I don't want to cause unnecessary problems. First, a question. Have you ever heard of the Night of the Blind Daughters? A massacre that took place 20 years ago. It was at the Farmer's Coast, around midsummer. The farmers had just put out the lights after a long day's work. Suddenly, shrouded figures showed up out of nowhere, with steel masks covering their faces. They broke into the houses and killed anybody who dared to stand in their way. While they merely wreaked havoc on most of the farms, any family with a daughter between 12 and 16 winters was less lucky. All in all, these masked people took 10 daughters that night and carried them away. They were found 1 week later. They lay on the Penny Road, mutilated with their eyes sewn shut. 1 girl each mile. To this very day, no one knows. However, there are theories. Do the names the Black Lieber and J.L. Tannison ring a bell? The Butcher of Ark? Yes. Thing is, in this book he left behind, Tannison claims to have been part of a cult called the Black Lieber. Even nowadays there are still scholars that deny its existence, but according to Tannison, they see themselves as some kind of counterbalancing power. They make sure that malice and sin, they don't gain the upper hand in this world, and that the scales of good and evil thus stay in balance. Well, this is where it gets bizarre. Normally, the Libra only kills people who have already sinned. Tyrants, rapists, murderers, and so on. Which is also why the attack on the Farmer's Coast didn't make any sense, and still doesn't for most people today. However, the father has a theory. Well, he does have an avid interest in them. Let's put it this way. He has dug up every little bit of information that there is. But we'll come to that later. According to the father, the Black Libra chooses their sinners through the dreams of some kind of holy child. The dreams are interpreted by the Libra's priests who extract the names and faces of evildoers from them. However, the child doesn't just see people who have already sinned. She also sees evil in its inception. Thus, the Libra might decide to kill a boy before he becomes a tyrant, or a girl before she gives birth to a murderer. I know, it sounds insane, but that's what it is. But apparently the Libra fully believes in this principle. The child is omniscient. So it would seem, though according to the father, they wouldn't have just been ordinary murderers, but emissaries of the end. Whatever that may mean. Simple. The father believes that the Black Libra knows the secret to transcendence. This is why he's been studying Tennyson's books like a madman. Especially one in particular, in which he describes the initiation ritual he underwent to become one of their assassins. And I also think that this temple in the Frostcliff Mountains is somehow related to the Libra. Long story short, apparently the pages of Tennyson's original manuscript describing the initiation ritual in detail were forcefully torn out, and the father wants to find them. Right. And I happen to know the only person who might be able to tell us their whereabouts. A man named Carlian. Correct. He was also an assassin of the Libra, and Tennyson's mentor. In other words, an unscrupulous piece of shit that did nothing but murder people for decades, guilty, the innocent alike. According to the father, he was also the one who orchestrated the Night of the Blind Daughters. However, that massacre seems to have been too much even for his rotten conscience to bear, because he left the Libra shortly thereafter. He took on a new identity. He's been living as a beggar in the Undercity ever since. I saw him once. It's no wonder that nobody knows what kind of monster he is. He's gone completely insane. Drinks away every penny he gets his hands on. Exactly. If we bring them to the First Seer and I tell him how I couldn't have done it without you, he might consider hiring you for the expedition. That's the plan. Not the best one, certainly, but, all we're getting. Then we'll need to improvise. Let's just hope it doesn't come to that. He currently lives in the communes. That is, if he isn't in some whore's bed in the Silver Cloud right now or getting hammered in the False Dark. I'll let you do the talking. It's unlikely that the First Seer will find out, but the more you actually help me on this mission, the more convincing our little story will be. One more thing. Don't go easy on that scum. He might seem harmless now, but remember what he's done. And remember that those 10 mutilated girls on the Penny Road are just one more page in this man's book of sins.
A penny, madame. Please, just one penny.
Hey! You're an adventurer, aren't you? Have you been to... oh, how do they say it? Melee? My dad told me that's where the petrified live.
A good man. Emo bed, sorry. Emo bed, sorry.
Come.
Madame,